There's a moment, right before the lion steps into the open. The jungle goes silent. Birds stop chirping. Small animals freeze. The trees don't move, but the air changes. No one saw him yet, but they feel him. That's power. That's presence. That's a reminder of something most men today have forgotten. You don't compete for attention. You command it. The room doesn't need to hear you. It needs to feel you. You've probably walked into a room before and felt invisible. You said all the right things, maybe even wore the right outfit. You smiled, tried to blend in, made an effort to be noticed, and still nothing. No one turned. No one paid attention. No one felt your presence. That's because attention isn't earned through volume. It's commanded through energy. The modern world confuses noise with value. But the truth is, people don't remember what you said. They remember how you moved. They remember how you made them feel. They remember what your presence did to the room. Competing for attention is a form of begging. Think about that. Every time you try to prove yourself to someone, every time you go out of your way to be noticed, every time you hope to be picked, liked, validated, you've already handed your power away. You've become another voice in a crowd, shouting to be heard, grasping for approval, losing yourself inch by inch. But the man who stands still, who waits in his silence, who doesn't chase attention, he becomes the gravity that others orbit. Because true presence doesn't beg. It doesn't perform. It doesn't chase. It pulls. The lion doesn't try. He simply is. The lion doesn't walk around screaming, "I'm the king." He doesn't need to. The jungle already knows. The pack already feels it. Because the lion's strength doesn't lie in noise. It lies in certainty. He is what he is. Unapologetic, unbothered, unmoved. And that's the lesson right there. You don't need to prove your worth. You need to embody it. When you carry yourself like a man who knows who he is, who doesn't explain himself, who doesn't lower his standards, who doesn't trade his silence for a cheap reaction, you become unforgettable. Most men are performing. Few are present. Scroll through social media. Look at the nightclub. Watch a guy on a first date. Almost every man is performing, trying to be funny enough, cool enough, impressive enough, loud enough. All of them hoping desperately that someone notices them. But the man who commands attention, he's not performing. He's present, present in his skin, present in his mission, present in the room without needing it to love him. He's not seeking the spotlight. Because he is the spotlight. Women can sense the difference. Instantly, let's be real. Women don't fall for the man who's doing the most. They don't feel magnetized by the loudest guy at the party. They remember the man who sat in the corner, calm and grounded. The one who didn't try to flirt. The one who didn't need attention. The one who locked eyes once and said everything without a word. Because that man wasn't chasing her. He was centered. And when a woman feels that kind of presence, that kind of self-assurance, it shakes her world, not because of what he says, but because of what he doesn't need to say. Replaceability comes from competition. When you compete for attention, you enter the arena. You become one of many. And in doing so, you become replaceable. If you're just louder, funnier, or flashier than the next guy, What happens when someone louder walks in? Exactly. You disappear. But when you don't compete, when you live by a code, when you move through life with intentional silence, when you exude unbothered energy, no one can replace you. Because you're not playing the same game. You're not trying to be chosen. You're already chosen by yourself. And that's the energy that shakes the room. Stillness is the new dominance. Most people today are reactive, constantly checking their phones, chasing arguments, getting triggered, feeling the need to respond to every little thing. But stillness is strength. It's dominance in its rawest form. You walk into a chaotic environment, and you don't flinch. You don't raise your voice. You don't let the chaos infect you. You remain the same. Still, focused, composed, and everyone notices, even if they don't understand why. Because calm is rare, and rare is always remembered. You are the brand before you say a word. Forget your resume. Forget your Instagram bio. Forget your lists of achievements. Before you open your mouth, your presence has already spoken. Are you grounded? Are you sure of yourself? Are you congruent with your values? That's the brand. That's what the world reads. Your posture, your silence, your discipline, your ability to walk away. That's what commands attention. You don't need a megaphone. You need self-respect. You don't ask for respect. You command it. A Stoic man doesn't ask to be respected. He simply lives in a way that makes it impossible not to. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't justify his boundaries. He doesn't engage in every fight. He just is. Solid, silent, sure. And the world adjusts around him. Because people don't respect noise. They respect control. They respect a man who knows who he is and moves accordingly. The 3 pillars of unshakable presence. Let me give you 3 foundations. 3 practical, powerful traits you can start building right now. 1. Control over emotion. The Stoics believed in one thing above all: emotional mastery. Not suppression, control. When you can be provoked and still remain centered. When you can hear an insult and not flinch. When you can be tempted and stay disciplined. That's presence. That's command. And it's rare. 2. Standards over approval. A man who lives by standards doesn't need applause. He's not swayed by popularity. He's guided by principle. He doesn't beg for time, affection, or attention. He decides what he allows into his world. And if something doesn't meet his standard, he doesn't argue. He doesn't fight. He walks. 3. Purpose over performance. This is the big one. When you're locked into purpose, your calling, your path, your mission, you don't have time to chase attention, because you've already become magnetic by existing in full alignment. Your silence becomes loud. Your stillness becomes powerful. Your focus becomes addictive. People want to be around you just to feel what you're building, because they can tell you're not trying to be seen. You're trying to build something that lasts. Be the lion. Stay silent. Command the room. So here's the truth. You don't need to compete. You don't need to prove. You don't need to raise your voice. You just need to become. Become solid. Become focused. Become the kind of man who could sit in a room and still shift its energy just by being there. Be like the lion. Still, calm, lethal. He doesn't have to announce himself. The jungle already knows. And when you master your presence, the world will too. So don't just listen to this video. Live it. Start today. Raise your standards. Own your energy. Build your gravity. Because the man who commands attention is the man who no longer needs it.